for the recordings to go up as well.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that. Happy Tuesday. Tuesday. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Hot but well. About to embark on a journey. Yeah, it's not. It's not the coolest of days. For those of you watching, I'm sat here with my amazing client Helen Dawson, who has asked me to roast some of her content. So before we get into that, Helen, can you tell me a bit? Just imagine we got a matchstick. It's on fire. You've got to finish the sentence before it does. Tell us a bit about what you do and who you do it for.
So I work mainly with kind of engineering type companies, so energy, utilities, infrastructure, and I'm trying to help them implement digital. So the sort of people I work with are like VP digital. They've generally invested some money and they're wondering where the ROI is going to come from. And these days, there's a lot of AI in that, obviously. Flavor of the month.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't think it's going away. Okay, so we've got this outcome, which is digital/AI. Then we've got the audience, which is engineering/manufacturing. What does the typical content creation process look like for you?
I have a bank of ideas, but I just sort of go with where the mood takes me on any given day.
Okay.
I am unplanned and bland, to use your phrase from the last team call we had.
Okay, so unplanned. I think it's a tough one with content because you want it to be full of emotion, and I've definitely fallen into the trap of like trying to schedule a month's worth of content in advance so I don't have to think about it. And actually that kind of doesn't work. You do need that reactivity. So that's a good thing, but not having a plan isn't necessarily a good thing.
Yeah.
So maybe rather than roasting content, that's what the route we should go down. But we'll see. So in terms of the result that you're looking for from content, would you say, well, actually, where are you posting first? Is LinkedIn your only platform? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And what's the job of the content in your eyes? So you're posting a few times a week from what I've seen.
So for me, it's credibility building and conversation starter.
Okay. Conversations and credibility. I like it. And how do you feel that that's going in terms of credibility building, posts being referenced back to you, or people saying, like, credible, relevant people saying they like them?
So in real life, I get a lot of feedback on my content. I get much less engagement on a platform, but then often I'm trying to say, this is why something's not working, or this is a mistake you're making. So I don't necessarily expect people to put their hands up and say, yes, that's me, my digital program's not going well. But yeah, so once I've got, through multiple conversations with people, then they'll talk about the content being relevant. But I'm not really sure what the journey is from being a total stranger to then.
Okay. So I like to break it into three. We're trying to capture new attention. We're trying to build trust with them. So it seems like that part's working. And then the conversion piece, I think most people try and get content to do that as well, which, you think about it, that's a lot of jobs for content to do. You're trying to get new audiences, which basically means you need to go semi-viral in your space in order to attract new people. The way that we can combat that typically is by putting ourselves on different stages or connecting with the relevant people every day. I'm pretty sure you're doing that. So we're topping that audience up. The main positive that I'm drawing from it is, even though it may not be converting, which will be the bottom of funnel stuff, it's being referenced to you middle of funnel. So yeah. If I had to break content's job down into one thing, trust.
Mm-hmm.
we talk about muscles in the gym having like time under tension, and that's when they grow. I heard someone reference the other day, time under trust is what content should be. So we're literally just putting out as much as we can that may be relevant to them specifically, business wise, or maybe interesting to them personally, as we kind of covered on that call that you referenced. I think a conversion piece is vanishing from content now. So rather than trying to convert people purely off content and turn them into, them raising the hand, it's going to be yours is obviously a harder audience to get to do that. It is more of a trust builder, which is why I'm so happy that you've mentioned that it is getting quoted back to you. Therefore, we probably do need, rather than looking at the content specifically, it's probably more important to focus on that journey. And it's something I'm doing at the moment. So let's trace it all the way back to the point of conversion. And I know you sell to pretty big businesses, so it's multiple calls from what I remember. It's not going to be a one call close like we used to do. No. So we've got a couple of calls. Therefore, we can now try and put everything pointing towards, let's say, a calendar booking software where they book that call. So we've got two bits. We've got the call itself, calendar booking software. Before that, how are we capturing that interest? So I know you're very good at AI. So you can probably whip up some assets pretty quickly. But I'm going through this whole piece myself at the moment because we killed off sales calls and don't do them anymore. Therefore, my content has to do so much of the heavy lifting because it's not me or Katie on a call trying to tell them that this will work for XYZ reasons. What are the pieces of the puzzle after the content before the call booking? I think that's going to be the main area of focus for you and driving content to this middle piece, whatever it is.
Yeah, and I think that kind of happens two ways for me.
Okay.
One is recommendations. So there will be a mutual contact that brokers something or is the link, so and so.
Yep.
And then the second one is like through comments. So nurturing someone, like they'll make a comment on something or, I'll make a comment on theirs and we kind of build up some sort of rapport through that. I've just restarted doing my email newsletter, so I haven't got a big audience on there, but that's supposed to be another kind of touch point around that kind of more private-y conversation.
Yep. Okay. And do you have any lead magnets that lead? That's what I'm kind of specifically thinking here. Like recommendations are great, but that's still more of an attention thing. I'm thinking this real just call booking or pre-conversion. How do we capture interest? And typically I think that'll be lead magnets and maybe some form of long form content, pushing to email list and then call at the same kind of time.
Yeah. So I have done podcast in the past, as long form, but not done that for a while. And then lead magnets, I guess I've done them in the past, but I've never had any traffic really to speak of, meaningful traffic.
I think there's a missing piece there somewhere, and whether we'll get to it in the next 6-7 minutes or not, I don't know. But I almost think that they're like the holy trifecta when it comes to the content that you put out there. We've got short form, which is just you out there brain dumping in the wild almost. And I know you're not the type anymore to overthink any posts or anything like that. You just put one up about Batman. It's a good subject matter. So we've got the short form that we're spraying out, and obviously we keep the quality high, but the quantity high also. And then I think there are the two like missing pieces there, which are email, and long form. And that's what
Mm-hmm.
I'm sort of referring to as the trifecta. And they push people in different directions, whether that's lead magnet, whether it's the call. And it all kind of, that's why I refer to it as a web rather than a funnel. Like, we want people just stuck in between these things. So I think looking at a couple of things that you can spin up quite quickly in terms of long form pieces, and maybe a tool like a diagnostic kind of tool for you could work quite well. If you imagine a really targeted engineering businesses, 6 things that you can, I'll diagnose you, almost like a Daniel Priestley score app kind of thing, but maybe build it yourself. That allows you to, one, collect data, but also provide value back to people, and then push long form to them through the medium of email. And that again is just going to help with trust. And then all of your, imagine we've got 2 or 3 there, all of your short form content pushes people into that. So if we had to draw a funnel, I notice you're writing. If we had to draw a funnel, it would almost be short form at the top. Then we've got long form and lead magnets in the middle, and then call at the bottom. And we're pushing people from short form to the long form or the lead magnet pieces, to and from them to the call. What most people do is they will skip that middle step and they will just go short form, buy from me, short form, buy from me. It's
and I hate doing that.
Yeah, well, I've not seen you do it. I see a lot of people do it on LinkedIn as a whole. It's what people are doing on Instagram, right? They're asking them to comment a keyword, and then off the back of that, on the short form, off the back of that, they're sending them a lead magnet, and then letting the long form and the email kind of do the work. So it really is a backwards process, rather than, most people start with the short form, and it kind of makes sense because you need to like just get yourself out there, and it's the smallest barrier to entry. But I think being a short form is second nature to you. It's the middle. It's that middle piece. So that could be something, again, you could sketch out and bring to our C2C call on Thursday. I don't know if you're a Miro board fanatic, but I like draw. Well, you know what I'm like with drawing and diagrams. I'm drawing a diagram here, even though no one can fucking see it.
I was like, am I supposed to see this diagram?
No. Well, I could have shared it. I've not shared a screen on a Joule live before, so I don't want to mess up the tech. But
no, we do love a Miro.
Yeah, well, that could be a
workshop.
a really good way of you just sketching something out, just dropping post-its, connecting them and stuff like that. Short form into long form, whether that's, I know you've been going live a lot, that they could be made into YouTube videos, so they're evergreen, maybe packaged a little bit nicely. And this is some of the stuff we're going to do in C2C next month as well, is like make some fucking assets that are really, really powerful, that do a bit of the selling for you. But yeah, the short form pushes to either long form pieces or lead magnet, which means people end up on the email list as a byproduct. And then off the back of that, call suggestions can be made in the long form, in the lead magnets, and also in the emails as well.
Okay, so short form drives to lead magnet or long form, and long form drives to book a call. Right.
Yeah, I would. Well, the long form can also drive to the lead magnets.
Okay.
As well. And the lead magnets can also point back to the short form if need, to the long form, sorry, as well, if required. So it's a little bit of a weird cycle, really. Yeah, that's why it's hard to call it a funnel anymore. Short form is probably, hopefully, how people are going to discover you. Not to say that if you put stuff out on podcasts and YouTube, they wouldn't, but in order just to keep this simple. And then we've got lead magnets feeding, long form feeding lead magnets and vice versa. And then all of it is underpinned by email. And that is where you can make the ask for calls more frequently than anywhere else.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, when it comes to content, because we've got a minute or 2 left, let me, if I can actually find my mouse. I can't find my mouse. I was going to say I can share my screen, or try to share my screen. I've literally lost my, it's on my iPad. How do I get it back onto my screen? There we go. Let's have a let's have a share. If I can work out how to do it. Share screen.
Okay, this is a new how to eat a donut without licking your lips. Is how to share screen without saying, I'm sharing screen. I'm going to share my screen.
Is it working?
Yeah, it's working, yeah.
Fantastic. So I brought up a few of your posts. The main thing to focus on is the first couple of lines to begin with.
Yeah.
And then I'm just having a quick look. Picture's good. I reckon just have your face more front and center rather than zoomed out, just as a general rule, not for every post. Without reading the whole thing, I think that's pretty decent. The book of call in the featured section. Yeah, that's I think we can alternate between those things.
Yeah.
There we go. Lovely. I love that. Maybe just a little bit more prescriptive with the direction that we would want to take people on, I think. And maybe just, again, it all depends how you write. I sometimes break my stuff into paragraphs with lines of dashes just so people can see certain parts. Cracking pick. The commenting piece is probably really going to help you here because I mean, I've found it recently. I don't do any commenting whatsoever, apart from if I find something funny. So I don't actually have an approach or a strategy for it. If you were to take half an hour a day just to go and speak to people in the comments, just for a little while, just for a few weeks, because I can't see anything wrong with this content. You could maybe be a bit more direct in some and change up the asks, but I've definitely seen a drop in my likes, impressions, and stuff like that as of late. So this one seems to be the highest performing one. Let's look at why. Probably because it's got another person in it.
And Sandy wrote the copy.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. So videos, I've seen a couple of your videos. They look great.
They look great, but they don't get much reach.
Yeah. Well, like you say, if you've not got content that people really tend to engage with because it's that kind of target audience, then we don't necessarily need to worry about it too much, but it's definitely a consideration. I still think that middle piece is what's going to help you because we can start to go a little bit more out there with the content afterwards. To go and improve the content before there's a journey to take people on might not be the best use of your time right now, I don't think.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
So I'd look at that middle piece first. I'd actually like to come back to this once we've got the asks sorted.
Yeah.
One other thing you can definitely do, and I've started doing a little bit of this recently, I'm going to run a whole month of almost hijacking certain people's and high performing posts and just completely adopting them for me. So rather than reinventing the wheel, not many people I guess would admit this out loud, but I'm going to try it because that's what everyone does on YouTube, and the same topics and thumbnails and titles are everywhere and they all seem to work. So if there are a few creators that you admire from either a visibility standpoint or potentially just a writing topic based standpoint, then go and have a look at their highest performing posts and just try and adapt some of those things for your own, just to begin with, to get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
But I think that's a secondary priority after the stuff we've already talked about.
Okay. Middle piece.
The middle piece.
To-do list.
Work out that journey, and it doesn't have to take long. Give yourself like half an hour and just be like, right, here are a few assets I'm going to have on YouTube. They're going to point people to this lead magnet, and then email runs it all.
Cool. Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome. We didn't actually get into roasting the content. But
you were very kind.
I don't think we need to.
Uncharacteristically.
Yes, maybe I will do it behind closed doors. We will see. But thank you very much for your time. Thank you for hopping on. I hope it was helpful, and we will pick up more on this on Thursday once you've done your fancy mirror board.
Cool. Cheers, bud.
Amazing. You're welcome. See you soon.
See you later.